Alrighty, what do we got today? Alchemy, intrigue, menagerie. I think that's it. Okay, so villages, just Snowy Village, which is kind of awkward. Snowy Village, 4 actions for one $3 card is obviously good. And I think it's good at letting you play multiple payload cards at the end of the turn. Like you draw your deck, you play Snowy, you play 3 replaces or something. But I think it plays pretty awkwardly with terminal draw. Like if you go Snowy Wayfarer to kick off your turn, well then any cantrips you draw into, like Sanctuary, Mill, Familiar, Goat Herd, Secret Passage, Conspire, like most of the kingdom shuts off. And so you have to play all those before you play your first Snowy Village and then play your draw cards. So that's probably going to make drawing a bit awkward here. Though I do believe, yeah, there's Way of the Horse, so that might be draw here as well. That's probably what you got to do. Thinning, there's Goat Herd, replace Sanctuary, and plus buy, Sanctuary, Snowy, plus replace for gains. So I mentioned Snowy plus draw is awkward, but what you can do here is if you get a bunch of surplus buys, so maybe you play with a bunch of Sanctuaries, you just buy a bunch of Wayfarers each turn, and then play them using Way of the Horse, and then you lose them again, but they're like one-shot laboratories. Horses, in fact. Maybe that's it. Just play a bunch of Sanctuaries, replace something into a victory card to give your opponent a curse, and then because your opponent gained a curse, Wayfarer costs 0, and then you can buy a bunch of them, and that's your draw. I think that's the goal here. Replace also has some nice synergies with Mill. I mean, not nice actually, quite mean in fact. You replace an estate into a mill, you gain a mill, you give them a curse because it's a victory card and an action, you get to top deck it as well. So probably first 5 is replace with intent to gain mills, then you add Sanctuaries to deal with the coppers, and then once you get thin you can start considering spinning some buys on Wayfarers. I think Conspire looks like a decent payload eventually. Goat Herd seems like a maybe. Obviously it works with an opponent's replace, but not so much with their Sanctuaries, because although this is thinning a card, it's not technically trashing it, so it doesn't buff the Goat Herd effect. How to open? Step 1 is to have the 5/2. I'm thinking Mill Silver, probably. Pretty good at hitting 5. Like Mill, as long as you don't bottom deck it, guarantees you hit 5, because either it's in a hand with 2 or fewer estates, in which case you pitch the estates and you have 5 money, or if you drew your mill with 3 estates, then your next hand has to have 5 money. I think Mill Silver into replace makes more sense than trying to open Goat Herd immediately, probably. I kind of worry that the bot is going to like replace a lot. It seems like a bot type card. And if you aggressively replace, this might just turn into curses run early and then imminent pile up. This is a phenomenal draw, I think. Because finding replace turn 3 means I can march it turn 4 and already get in a trash and a curse. Alright, now I want Sanctuary, I think. Unfortunately, did not find replace with either of the estates. Yeah. Probably this is just copper into curse, and then, or is there a copper into estate cursing them, and then buying something? They don't have a replace yet. They went straight for Sanctuary, so probably not a Goat Herd. I mean, I could just discard the replace and buy 2 Sanctuaries in lieu of trashing, because trashing copper into a state isn't really thinning my deck, but it's probably still worth it just for cursing the opponent. I could take away Wayfarer now if I really wanted one. I don't have a Snowy Village yet, so probably Snowy Village first makes more sense. Mill and I think just a second Snowy Village. Having a bunch of plus buys will get me more Wayfarers later. Okie dokie. Is it worth buying a copper to buy a Wayfarer? Frequently, I think that is a good trade, something you often do. But here, the Wayfarers are likely to just be horses, and that makes it less obvious. I think I'm going to say just Sanctuary and nothing else. I'm surprised the bot didn't go for replace. Bot loves bad things, and replace is a bad thing. In the normative sense, not the like strategic sense. Okie dokie, this will be probably Duchy over Mill. I can exile it anyway. It's gotta be something that gives out a curse, basically, so something green. Mill is a card that I'm happy to have in the deck, Duchy is not, but I've got plenty of Sanctuaries, so I think just Duchy. I'm gonna take a bunch of these. Mill. Bunch more Wayfarers. I need to horse all of these. I can always play a few of them after Snowy Village, but most of them are going back from whence they came. I could just use the button. Forgot about that thing. Probably exile copper and replace estate. Could do it the other way around and just keep the estate. Don't think it makes a whole lot of difference. Looks like I got more draw than I need, so I can afford to pitch there. Now we go Snowy, Wayfarer. I think silver is better than nothing. If I take no silvers, I could replace a Wayfarer straight to a province, which also has some appeal. Maybe that's better to do. So you go Snowy, Mill, province. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just one more Sanctuary. I kind of like the idea of Conspirator as well. Second replace even, maybe? That sounds potentially good. Play Snow, I can play 2 replaces. The silvers I gain off of Wayfarer could be good targets. I think a second replace makes sense. Bot seems to be struggling a bit over there. Horse, horse, exile, horse again, horse again. That's probably enough of that. Exile copper. So if I play Snowy Village, I'm pretty sure I want to play both replaces. So I can play 1 Snowy, 2 Wayfarer, 2 replace, or 2 Snowy Villages, 1 Wayfarer, 1 replace. Probably do it this way. Okay. So I can gain a silver, play this Wayfarer, and then I'll have silver, 2 replaces. I can replace silver into a 5 maybe. Or I could do like estate into Conspirator, silver into Duchy, and then do a bunch of Wayfarers. Alternatively, I could just play the Snowy and then do Wayfarer into Province. And estate into Conspirator, not in that order. That would be bad. Gotta gain the curse one last. I think I'd like turning these into provinces, to be honest. So Conspirator first. Oh, that doesn't work. Shoot, this is a bad idea. This is a really bad idea. So I was thinking, okay, we'll just do it this way. So you gotta give them the curse last, so the Wayfarer still costs 0. But if I gain something before I do the Wayfarer replace, Wayfarer stops costing 6, and then I can't turn it into province. So Conspirator, sorry, but you have to wait. Now I can buy a bunch. Oh, might I have had a pile out there? I didn't really look, but probably not. But these piles are low. I should look this turn at Wayfarer plus Mill. Okay, let's see what we can do. So I need to replace something into Mill, give out a curse, and then 5 buys. Yeah, that looks easy enough. So I'm playing 2 replaces and 1 other thing. Gotta be the Snowy, I think. This isn't gotta be. I could do replace into Mill, replace into Province that gives out both curses, and then just buy the Wayfarer. So I think that's more points. So we'll do that. Now we turn something into a Mill, and I have 1 more action than I accounted for. I guess I just miscounted there. In any case, it doesn't make much of a difference. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think the Wayfarer cost reduction stuff, while a bit confusing, definitely seems strong here. Plays nicely with the replace and the horse and all the good stuff. I think replace first is definitely the move. The bot has a bit of the stuff you want. It's hard to tell how thin the bot was just from this because I can't tell how many of these are in exile. But it's definitely slower to get up and running. How did the bot open? So bot opened Conspirator Snowy Village, which I think neither of those seems right to me. Conspirator, like if you open it, you're never going to activate it early. But it is, I think it can be a fine opening if nothing else jumps out. Like if Mill weren't here, I would say Conspirator Silver seems fine, because the Conspirator is functionally a terminal silver for a while, which is fine at hitting 5, and then it will become a non-terminal silver later on. So it's like an okay opening, but it just seems clearly worse than Mill. Like the reason you take a Conspirator early is to hit 5, and Mill is just better at that. So I think the argument against Conspirator, it's not that it's horrible, it's just that there's something that is strictly better at doing the thing that you would be opening the Conspirator to do. And then Snowy Village, I don't know, maybe the goal here is to try to get plus buy super early and go straight for the Wayfarer tricks, but that doesn't seem quite right to me. I think the goal is just hit 5. If there were another argument, it would be just taking Goat Herd immediately, like Conspirator Goat Herd, and then you have some chance of hitting 5 plus trashing, maybe? I don't know. I think you're just with 2 things that spike 5, which I think Mill Silver is the best, and what you really want is to hit 5 turn 3 and then march the replace. Turn 3. Okay, yeah, so sure enough, they bought the Snowy for the purpose of doing this Copper Wayfarer thing, which is not, like there's kingdoms where I think this looks better, but I don't think it's the most important thing to be doing early here. And they missed 5, yeah. I also think this is a mistake, buying Sanctuary as your first 5, especially because like turn 5, they're at the top of a shuffle. They could have, well maybe they hit 2 here. Never mind. Okay, drawing 2 on turn 6 is pretty unfortunate, but like imagine they'd had 3 money. I think you could march a Sanctuary, and that's fine, but marching Replace I think does more for you. Because like, Replace produces more value from playing it. The benefit of Sanctuary is just that it's easier to play. So yeah, I think the bot's opening seemed a little bit dubious, and I think it needed a Replace sooner. I'm surprised it didn't get one. Replace just seems like a hard bot type card. That's the Kingdom.